Good morning, everyone. I am Lacy Biconia, the first reporter of the Group 5. My report is all about the online identity and self in a cyberspace. So, my report examined the concept of the online identity and its relation to the self in a cyberspace. It's explore how individuals construct and present themselves online, the factors influencing this process, and the implications for identity perceptions and representations. So, what is the online identity? Online identity is defined as the aggregations of individuals, characteristics, and interactions in the digital realm. Unlike a regular or fixed identity, online identity is multifaceted with each website and platform forming a unique impressions of the individual based on their interactions. And every website or platform you're visiting, you're creating different characteristics and profiles. That's what we call the partial identities. So what is the partial identities? The partial identities where different online platform captured various aspects of an individual or of your personality, but sometimes it's presenting the complete selves. Because you interact differently with each website you visit, each of those websites will have different pictures of who you are and what you do. Sometimes, the different representations of who you are referred to as a partial identities because one of them has the fully true pictures of who you are. This fragmentations arises from the selective presentations of informations and behaviors across different online environments. So, online identities are distinct from the real world identities due to the unique ways in which online platforms perceive and characterize individuals. The characteristics displayed online may differ significantly from those exhibited in a online context, leading to the divergence between the online persona and the real world self. So it means your online identity is not the same as your real world identity. One way of understanding such self representation is the informations and the materials people choose to show others on a Facebook profile or a Twitter stream, but identity is also expressed through interacting with others, whether over instant messenger or ML. Since there are fewer identity codes available online than to face-to-face, every piece of digital information a person provides, the typing the typing seed to nickname and email address can and it's used to make inference. And that is according to Marvin A 2013. So, how do you build your online identity? Every website that you interact with will collect its own version of who you are based on the information that you shared. Thus, it is up to you how you will represent yourself as closely as you are and what you do in the real world or in the real life or selectively to create a representation from far from your real life. This the process of the build of building online of and build online identity involves consciously deciding how to present oneself, whether by closely mirroring real life characteristics or selectively crafting a distinct online persona. Its curation shapes how others perceive and interact with the individuals in the cyberspace. The social media platform play a crucial role in shaping online identities by prompting users to consciously create virtual depictions of themselves The self-representations involve curating informations and materials to present to others. An identity expression extends beyond the static profile to encompasses interactions with others through online channels such as instant messaging and email. These interactions contribute to the overall perceptions of individual online identity. So overall, online identity is a dynamic and multifaceted construct shaped by interaction, self-representations, and digital codes. It's differ from the real-world identity and is subject to the fragmentations across various online platforms. Understanding the dynamic of the online identity is crucial for navigating the complexity of the cyberspace and managing one's digital footprint. Thank you so much.
Right now, I will be discussing all about selective self-presentation and impression management. So what are these? These are characteristics showing behaviors designed to convey an image about ourselves and to other people and to influence the perceptions of other people in this image. This explains where our behaviors can change if we notice that we are being watched or observed. This point explains that most of our actions, whether in online or personal, are intentional. We behave in ways that we shape how other people see us. This means we don't just act naturally. We often adjust our behavior to project a certain image or identity that we want others to believe about us. When we know someone is observing us, we become more conscious of our actions. For example, we become more polite, confident, and caring. And this shows how powerful social perception is. Simply knowing we're being watched can change the way we behave. This self-presentation can also change depending on who we are talking with or what personal information we need to be providing to present ourselves in a way that will be acceptable to others. It means that we adjust ourselves depending on our audience because we don't present ourselves the same way we present ourselves to our friends, family, teachers, and to strangers. We tailor the information we share and the way we act based on what we will think will be acceptable or appropriate for that specific group. These points also highlights that self-presentation is selective. Why? Because we choose what aspects of ourselves we want others to see, and we highlight the things we think make us look good or align with how we want to be perceived. And at the same time, we often hide things that we think might be judged negatively. And in online, it depends on us on how we will act and what photos to be shared, what highlights of our lives to be presented. And of course, the digital world allow us to create a version of ourselves that may be polished or idealized. This careful selection shapes how others view online identity. Thus, we can select only what we want to present and impress to others, what we view beneficial to our personality, especially when we create a digital self. And we carefully choose representation of expressions of one's real world to the online world. This final point emphasizes that our online world is not always the exact reflection of our real world's identity and instead it is something we actively construct. We decide how much or how little of our true selves we show, and this process can influence how others perceive us and how we perceive other people. We will now come to the impact of online interactions of the self. So when interacting with other people, we automatically make inferences about them without being consciously aware of it. We wonder what they are thinking, what their facial expressions means, and what their intentions are, and this makes social interactions demanding. When we are interacting with other people, we usually make assumptions about their thoughts, feelings, and intentions without even realizing it. and we try to understand what others means through their expressions and actions, which takes mental effort. And because our brain works to interpret and predict others' thoughts, face-to-face interactions can be emotionally and mentally tiring. Interacting with human partners requires more emotional involvement and greater cognitive effort compared to interactions through computer. This conclusion is clear. Online interaction does not require the same cognitive and emotional involvement, making it much easier. It's correct because talking to real people involves more emotional involvement and higher cognitive load compared to interacting with a computer. And since we don't read people's cues and emotions online, digital communication can be mentally and physically demanding. In conclusion, interacting online offers a much simpler and less demanding way to communicate compared to face-to-face interactions. And when we engage with people in person, we constantly interpret their expressions, emotions, and intention, which requires significant mental and emotional effort. And in contrast, online communication removes many of these pressures, allowing us to interact without the same level of cognitive compared to emotional involvement. And as a result, online interactions feel easier, more manageable, and less social taxing, shaping how we present ourselves and connect with others in the digital world.
Hello, good day everyone. I'm Ina Ribadoya. Is it true that Facebook provides opportunities for increased identity development? Yes. 2009 survey of college students reportedly showed that the heaviest Facebook users were also most satisfied with their lives and exhibited greater social and political engagement. However, online interactions cannot reveal our true feelings and can decrease people's happiness levels. The extra effort involved in face to face interactions can be spared in online interactions that are founded on minimal or constrained social cues. Most of the signals can be summed up in emoticons or punctuations. Hence, it is easier to hide our emotions behind an email, a Facebook post, or a tweet. Studies were conducted to show that within the first 2 years after people access their happiness level decrease, and that social media has a small yet significant detriment on overall well-being. This is because browsing a social media sites alone can lead to feel This is because browsing social media sites alone can lead to feelings of jealousy when we compare self to the online persona of others. So online interactions cannot reveal our true feelings and can decrease people's happiness levels and overall well-being. Online communication is founded on minimal or constrained social cues like relying on emotions or punctuation, making it easier to hide emotions. Hence, it is easier to hide our emotions behind an email, a Facebook post, or a tweet. We can control our self-presentations on online interaction, and this may be both beneficial and harmful to the individual. Compared to face-to-face presentations, online interactions enable us to self-censor to a greater extent and manage our online identities more strategically, which provides greater opportunity to misrepresent ourselves. We can control our self-presentations online, which can be both beneficial and harmful. Compared to face-to-face interaction, online interaction allows for greater self-censor and more strategic management of online identities. This can be beneficial for managing a professional image. This can be beneficial for managing a professional image, for example. This same ability to control presentation provides greater opportunity to misrepresent ourselves.
Belk says our extended self is now includes our digital possessions, online identities, and what we share on the internet. So today, I will present Russell Belk's ideas of the extended self in digital world. Belks explained that technology does not just store our information and it becomes part of who we are. Our photos, social media profiles, game avatars, and even our online purchases help shape our identity, or what he calls our digital extended self. Belk present 5 changes emerging from current digital age. The first one is dematerialization. So many things that used to be physical, like photos, letters, music, movies, or documents, are now digital files is stored in phones, laptops, or the cloud. So our stuff becomes invisible and immaterial. Yet we still feel attached to these digital possessions like photos or games items, and they become part of who we are. Example of this is a student used to keep printed photo albums but now keeps thousands of pictures on Facebook, Instagram, and Google Photos. Losing the account or phone feels like losing part of myself because those digital photos hold memories and identity. Also, Belk explained that virtual consumption has 4 main functions. The first is it increases our desire to buy because seeing many attractive digital items and upgrades makes us want both real and virtual goods. The second is it turns our daydreams of being rich or high status into temporary reality by letting our game characters wear luxury outfits or own powerful items. The third, it lets us live out impossible fantasies such as being a wizard or space pirate, which we can never be in real life. The fourth one is it allow us to experiment with risky rules like being a criminal in a game, but this can also lead to real problems when people hack accounts or feel extreme stress in their valuable virtual possession are stolen. So the second changes emerging from current digital age is we have re-embodiment. So online people can present themselves through avatars, usernames, filter, and edited photos, which become new or bodies and identities beyond their physical body. In game and social media, people can look younger, richer, more glamorous, or even change gender or abilities, so the self is recreated in virtual form. Example of this is in an online game, a shy student in real life plays a stronger warrior avatar and feels confident and powerful over time. So that avatar becomes part of their self image, affecting how they feel even offline. And the third is sharing. Social media and other platform make it very easy to upload, download, and share photos, opinion, and files. So large part of our private lives become visible to others. This sharing help us build our identity because other react, likes, and comments and co-create how we see ourselves. But it also reduces our control over what is known about us. An example of this is a person posts a graduation photos on Facebook and friends congratulate them and tag other photos so the event become part of their public identity. So even years later, those posts still shape how others remember them. The fourth is the co-construction of self. When someone posts blogs, photos, or updates, other people react through likes, comments, and tags. And these responses help shape how that person sees themselves and how others see them. This is similar to the idea that the self is formed by looking at how others respond. Online friends constantly help build and reaffirm each other identities through feedback, making the self a shared collaborative project rather than something created alone. So we have the fifth one and the last, a distributed memory. So in the digital world, phones, social media, cloud storage, and other technologies record and store many parts of our lives. So memories is spread out or distributed across system instead of being kept only by the brain or in a physical object like printed photos. These digital traces help maintain an ongoing narrative or who we are. But they can also be selective or incomplete because people often post only happy or special moments, so what is saved online may not fully represent their true life story. So that's all, everyone. Thank you for listening.
So for today, we are going to tackle about boundaries of the online self. Private versus public, personal versus social identity, and online gender and sexuality online. In today's digital world, understanding the boundaries of our online self has become more important than ever. The internet allows us to express who we are, connect with others, and explore different aspects of our identity. However, the online world also blurs the line between what is public and what should remain private. Our personal identity, who we are at home or with trusted people, often mixes with our social identity, which is how we represent ourselves to the online community. Because gender and sexuality can also be shared or interpreted online, it becomes necessary to protect ourselves and make thoughtful decisions about what we are revealing. Setting boundaries for your online self means being responsible, being cautious, and aware of the risks that come with sharing information. One important guideline is to stick to safer sites, especially those you are trustworthy or secure. This reduces the chances of encountering scams, harmful contents, and people with bad intention. You also need to guard your password since they are the first line defense of or against hackers. If someone gain access of your account, they can steal your information or even pretend to be you. Another important boundary is choosing your online friends wisely. Not everyone online is who they claim to be, so being careful about who you interact with helps you protect your privacy. The internet also has a long memory. Anything you post, photos, comments, personal details can stay online forever, even if you try to delete it. This is why you must think before you share, because a single post can affect your reputation, safety, or future opportunities. Additionally, setting boundaries includes being respectful. You should never embarrass or insult or even harm others online because digital action have a real life consequences. Finally, you must limit what you share, especially sensitive information that can expose you to risks like identity theft, cyberbullying, or even harassment. In short, maintaining boundaries online is about protecting your identity, privacy, and well being. By being mindful of what you share and who you trust, you can create a safer, healthier, and more responsible online presence. The message explains that online spaces play a significant role in how adolescents explore and express their identity, especially regarding gender and sexuality, because the internet hides physical characteristics, age, appearance, and gender. Teens feel more comfortable sharing their thoughts and experimenting with different aspects of themselves. Online interactions such as chats, blogs, become places where they learn about sexuality and express concerns they might not voice in person. However, protecting one's identity and safety online is essential, especially when dealing with sensitive topics like sexuality. In short, online spaces help adolescents discover who they are, but they must use these platforms carefully, responsibly, and with full accountability. In conclusion, yes, we cannot deny the fact that we are surrounded by social media, different medium and platforms. But at the end of the day, we should always remember that social media will just be there to guide us, not to shape us, nor to change us. We are the most powerful and we should be responsible in using it. Digital world is just a piece of our world. Never let that piece fool you and manipulate you.